I know, Maven, you are considered a vampire, but you have the name Vampire King.
I could explain that one.
Okay, tell us
I
about
could explain.
that. There are people who do drink blood.
Yes.
I mean, people are, like, we watch a movie like Blade, and you got blood showers as the opening scene.
I've thrown 2 of those parties.
Blade? Well, hold on, what do you mean?
I've told 2 blood raves before.
There's plenty of groups within this community. Mm-hmm. Have there been any groups that have almost become like a cult?
Yes, we've actually encountered many cults. And I'll be very honest, I used to be part of one of those cults.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the HORRORble podcast. We are still here in New Orleans. We actually have 2 guests tonight. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. Let's start with the lady first.
Hi, I'm Pixie Cat.
Hi, I'm Maven Lore.
Maven Lore and Pixie. I want to take it back a little further to
Sure.
when you were a kid, Maven.
Cool.
What kind of kid were you? Were you always...
I was a bad kid.
Bad kid, all right.
I was always getting in trouble.
Yeah.
I was skateboarding. I was getting in fights. I was stealing shit. I was bad.
Were you always into the darker side of things?
Absolutely.
Like scary movies and stuff as a kid?
Yeah. I found like everybody else was rooting for the vampire slayers. I was rooting for the vampires.
Yeah, gotcha.
You know?
Okay, yep.
Like one of my favorite movies is Lost Boys. I think it's a good modern classic, if that makes any sense.
It kind of rocking out.
Yeah, they are. They were modern, had modern young energy. You know, not just like
Motorcycles, parties, all type of shit.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yep.
And then saxophone guy.
Saxophone guy. It's like so 80s. It's like what does this movie need?
Yep.
Saxophone
Muscular,
guy.
sweaty saxophone guy. You know.
I hear you. Yep. You spent over 20 years in New Orleans so far, pretty much, right?
Yeah. This year will make 28 years. I moved at
So
Halloween.
closer to 30.
Yeah.
Closer to 30 years.
Yeah, almost as long as I've been making teeth. You know.
There you go. We'll get into that. We'll get into that teeth thing. Why do you think so many stories as vampire spirits, rituals seem to live and breathe in a place like this?
Okay. Well, it depends on who you talk to, first off. There's a lot of spiritualists and pagans and voodoo people who they all kind of believe the same thing, that the veil between the worlds is thinnest in this city. Why that is, I don't know. But that's kind of the prevailing thing. Now, as far as the vampire stuff is concerned, local legends say that vampires from the old world, like, you know, Europe and wherever else, because they weren't just in Europe, came to the new world with America through the port of Orleans. And so the interview, the vampire thing, was based on some myths and legends, historically speaking, about, you know, the migration of vampires from Europe and, you know, that sort of side of the world over here.
Understood. I know, Maven, you are considered a vampire. You have been, and I don't even want to assume, but you have the name Vampire King.
I could explain that one.
Okay, tell us about
I could explain. Yes, I can't change into a bat or mist or anything like that. So,
Okay.
but
Allegedly.
I know. I think I'd use my powers for evil if I had, like, I would definitely monetize them. You know,
Gotcha.
It'd be like what's his name, Shazam. You know,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Latin in front of my face. But no, seriously though. Okay, so there is a story behind this, and it has to do with a lot of other monarchs around the country and the founder of the community in general. So I used to work with the Vampire Court of Austin, and the king of the court used to be my best friend. He came up to me in 2016, right after his vampire ball, which is a week before Halloween in New Orleans. And he said, all right, it's all decided. You're going to be king of the Vampire Court of New Orleans. I was like, the fuck I am.
He just told you.
Yeah, he just like, Well, it's like people always trying to put me in a position of leadership for like 20 years. And like, we argued over this for 2 hours. And I told him I didn't want to do that. And then he goes, you know what? You always say be the change that you want. Why are you being a hypocrite? I was like, oh God, fuck you.
He spun it on you.
I was like, fine, sure, I guess. And then at the same time, Goddess Rosemary, who I know a lot of people don't know this, but she actually founded the vampire community, or we like to call the VC.
Can you tell us her name one more time?
Goddess Rosemary.
Goddess Rosemary.
Yes,
Okay.
she's founded it in 1976. She surprised me by putting out an official proclamation through her house that, you know, Goddess Rosemary has said that Maven is king of in New Orleans. Now, these are two different things. The one that was proposing was a community-based position. The thing that she was proposing was a rank within the house of the house is called Temple House Shahaja. That is the original house, but that's a ranking within the family. So now I had both. I had ranking in the family, ranking in the community, but the king title only applies to the organization of the Vampire Court of New Orleans. It doesn't.
Okay.
If anybody says that they are king of the entire city, point blank, they're full of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maven, I want to make something clear to the people watching.
Sure. What
You
got?
use the word VC. I know what that word or what the abbreviation means. Can you just let us know?
Oh, yeah. It just means vampire community.
Yep. Okay. Just making sure, because there could be people like, what does he mean VC? Virtual currency or yeah.
I
So
wish. I don't get paid to do this shit. And we're like, you know who fucked that up for everybody? That was right?
That was
Yeah. So has this like magic power. He makes orgies happen everywhere he goes.
he
So
can
everybody
spawn
thought,
an orgy like just
yes. I was like, boom.
who
orgy.
are we? Let's make this clear, because remind you, people watching don't
Yeah.
really know who
Yeah,
is.
and his wife used to run the Vampire Court of Austin before they retired.
Yeah.
But like they lived a very extravagant life, and they kind of ruined it for the rest of us because they thought that was the status quo.
Yeah.
So people who were against the idea of us being community leaders used that as a reference. And then people who shouldn't be community leaders wanted that because they thought that was the status quo.
Understood.
So I have this funny story about him. Speaking of orgies. So did you see the movie, not the TV show, but the movie What We Do in the Shadows?
I heard
there's-
it, but I haven't seen it yet.
It's based on a movie. So one of the actors for the movie showed up to one of the vampire balls that me and were at. Right? And like, we were talking to this guy, and he was a real, like in the movie, he was a real asshole. In real life, he was like one of the sweetest people.
sweetheart.
He was a sweetheart, right? So, and at one point I was going to leave, so I wanted to say goodbye to him, and I couldn't find him. And then I look over and I see pushing him in an Uber, and like with his big grin on his face, and he's closing the door. And he looks out, and he goes, but I don't know what to do at an orgy.
And the door closed.
I was like, oh my God, that poor guy.
He had no idea what he's getting himself into.
No.
Yeah.
No. So anyway, what were we talking about?
I don't know now.
It's like,
we went from
spawning
vampires to
orgies.
orgies. Yeah. I do want to ask you this. So 28 years, almost 30 years in this community.
Yeah.
How did you first find your way into this world?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because I know we
Yeah,
talked
there-
about the founder,
Right. Okay. So
but
I
how
had
did
no
we
idea.
even get into this mix?
Okay, so this is definitely a story here.
Okay.
All right, so obviously I always had a love for the genre, you know, vampire, the movies, the look, the feel. I always had, but I didn't really think much else past that. Now one day I'm going to this like little witch shop. I see all these cards, and they say Teeth by Nash.
Teeth by Nash. Okay.
Yeah, DNASH, right? So I hold up the card to my friend behind. I said, "What the fuck are Teeth by Nash?" Right? And she explained the idea of prosthetic fangs to me, and I was like, "How much are they?" And you know, and I remember opening my wallet and slamming down. I was like, "I pulled a price. Shut the fuck up. Take my money," you know. And you know, I made my appointment right there. And I remember getting my first fangs from Nash.
Fangs. For the people that are watching, you mean like canine
Yeah.
extensions, pretty much.
Yes. So yeah, they're
As you
prosthetic.
guys can see, Pixie.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, she's got them.
Okay.
I don't remember walking there, but I remember walking back. I remember just feeling very different. I can't really describe it. I just feel like my senses were on 11. I felt like something had awakened in me, you know, but I didn't quite understand it. I didn't feel the need to, you know, to go jump people from the bushes or anything like that, you know. But I felt like there was something more than just the fangs. And a year later goes by, my life literally falls absolutely apart. I was single, I was broke, I was homeless, and I was ready to throw myself off a building. And my best friend at the time, Magdalene, she said, "Hey, it's my birthday. I want you to come out and celebrate with me." And I was like, "I can't. I'm too busy feeling sorry for myself, right?" And she was like, got so pissed. I mean, I'm paraphrasing what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
She was like, "I've always been there for you. I just want to see you on my birthday and hang out in this amazing club." I'm like, "Fine, bitch, I'll be there." You know? And, you know, so we were in this club and it was called Mother. And it was, you know, the whole idea was mother to all. Back in the 90s, it wasn't today. We didn't have the concept of an ally. We had all freaks hang out with each other concept.
Gotcha.
So there was a wide net of what's considered freak. And they were all kicked out of mainstream society. So what we did is we all hung out together. That's why, like, you know, the goth, the bamfs, the drag queens, what we now known as LGBT, we were one big, you know, family. We all hung out with each other. I remember showing up. I had one fang because I broke my other fang, so I showed up completely snaggletooth to this event. And my friend Magdalene goes, "Someone wants to talk to you." And I was like, "Who knows me here? I've never been here before." So I go down there. I meet the current person running the vampire community in New York, and I was like, I remember I embarrassed the shit out of myself. I was like, "Vampire community? Like there's houses? Like in that show, Kindred the Embraced?"
Okay.
That was like my favorite show back then. I watched it now. It's just, oh my God, that stuff is cheesy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
But he was like, not really like that. And I had to be explained what the VC was. And I was just like, this is what I'm going to put my life behind. I love this. And
You made a decision right there?
Yes, right there and then. And I haven't regretted it because it's literally changed my life for the better.
You said something very specific.
Mm-hmm.
You said at this time when you were 22, a lot of people in different communities that were considered this word freak were not accepted back then.
Correct.
Today we have a lot more of acceptance.
I think today's, if you're not what was considered a freak or an outcast back then, they're the mainstream now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
So how fast did you see that change? Because if it was that way when you were 22, years, you know, ahead now, you look forward, at what year did you think that kind of like made that shift to where it became accepted?
probably around 2010,
Okay.
2012, something like that.
Okay. So about 15 years ago.
Yeah,
or so.
but it was a slow. It wasn't just like, bam, we're the cool kids now.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Did a lot of those people transition into the vampire community because they were not accepted?
Yes.
And this was a way to become one?
Yeah, I mean, there's different types of people in the VC. There's the people who like the aesthetic, you know, like dressing up like the Fangs, you know, go on the weekends, you know. There's the people who are very community minded and they found something that speaks to them. There are people who vampirism is actually part of their religion, and no, not Satanism or anything like that. That's, everybody jumps to that, so it's not that. There are people who just want to belong to something that doesn't kick them around.
Do you think that there are people either prior to you or even in certain communities that take advantage of that?
That's a good question. Absolutely. So, in several people have tried this, and we've all kind of thrown our hands up and failed. We tried creating unification projects, you know, So this Unity project, one of the very specific things that it was trying to do was to create a network of communication between all these communities, not just to not just for a kinship, but to warn people about predators within the community, users, grifters, liars, rapists,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So most of the people involved, they were the black sheep of their families. They were ostracized by their communities, and they want to create and be part of something that's, what's the word? Something that's very inclusive.
Yeah.
Now the problem is too much inclusivity is a bad thing because these bad people started coming in. But after a while, the good people in all these communities started leaving, and then you were just left with the assholes.
Gotcha.
So that's what happened with the DC as of
The
the
assholes
last.
kind of pushed all the good people out.
They did.
Yeah,
Kinda.
Kind of. It's like a lot of the good people still like, they just keep to themselves a little bit more. They just took a step back and just,
like honestly, we were in this weird sort of twilight, not the movie. Shouldn't say the T word. We're in this weird position where we stepped back from the community, but we always were like, when the right time is, we'll come back in as community leaders, and people have been begging us for the last half decade to come back in.
You also just said something. People equate vampirism immediately to Satanism. And I think there's a big misconception there.
Absolutely. I can kind of tell you a little bit of where that came from.
Please.
Now, while Goddess Rosemary started, I'd like to say she started the first public institution. Okay? There were houses before her. They were just very clandestine. Because they were radicalized church groups that were going out and killing these people. That were part of vampire houses. So
you're saying there was people in the community that would basically hunt this community
they're
and,
vampire
they
hunters.
were-
and literally kill them?
yeah,
Yes.
they were radicalized church groups that were doing this.
That
So
used to happen.
and nobody looked into it because the people, like the locals were like, oh, they were Satanists anyway. They deserved it. And like, case closed.
Got you. Okay.
So around 1980, the goth movement started. All right. So this is important because the media was calling them teenage vampires, but no one was killing them. So the houses got together and they said, you know what? We can go out dressed like these fuckers and no one would bother us. And that's how goth and vamp sort of like intertwined.
Okay.
It was a camouflage for the community back then.
I've never heard this before.
I talked to one of the older ones. They told me that I did like
I've
I
never
would
heard
never
this
figured
before.
that out myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm not that smart, but I would never have figured that out.
And then now you see the goth community and vampire community are actually
Pretty much.
intertwined and one.
Well,
pretty
yeah,
much.
yes and no. The aesthetic is very entwined.
Okay.
All right. But like I was in New York in the mid to late 90s, and there was definitely a divide. Like the goths were really snooty, and they're like, "We were here first. They came from us."
They
I
were
was like, "Not
salty
really,"
about it.
And so there was this little beef. Like the vamp community didn't give two shits. Y'all could be like grieve somewhere else.
I can only imagine that. I know I've heard you say there's plenty of groups within this community. Have there been any groups that have almost become like a cult?
Yes, we've actually encountered many cults. And I'll be very honest, I used to be part of one of those cults. I didn't realize that. Here's the thing about cults, you don't realize you're in one.
Oftentimes they don't start out bad, but they can progress into something else later on. Like,
You think that's strategic on whoever was initiating you into the cult?
Absolutely.
yes, because a lot of people who have the cult leader personality, their goal is to have people worship them. Their goal is to have admiration. Their goal is to live off people, whether it's their resources, their emotional draining, anything.
I was going to say that kind of gives a connotation to like a energy vampire or
or douchebag. You know?
Or that.
Yeah. I've personally been hands-on with 2 cults. There's another couple of ones that we had to call out and, warn the local community. But the one, I was in one for 17 years. But it's like, the concept of boiling a frog? You just turn the temperature up just a little bit. So imagine that very slow dial over 17 years. One of my friends came and said, you're in a cult, right? And I was like, I'm not eating babies and sacrificing them to Satan.
That
I
was
didn't
my same
understand what a cult
response,
was,
too.
right?
Yeah.
So I thought everybody knew if you're, it's a personal choice. And he handed me this printed out sheet and said, I want you to check off all these that apply to you. It was something from the government.
The government used to have a checklist. Apparently, they took it down.
Yeah.
But it used to be 15 things that you're definitely in a cult.
I checked out 14.
What was the number at the time that said you're in a cult? Was it like 7, 8, 9?
Oh, I
think it was
don't know.
7. I think it was 7.
Seven's
if I
a good
remember.
halfway, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't 8, I remember, because that was over. They were like 7, and like you need to start evaluating. If it's over 7, then you
Got a high
need
chance.
to walk away from that, whatever you're
Yeah,
part
so mine was double that.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing about cults. When you leave a cult, it's almost worse than being in one because they will actively go out of their way to destroy you.
Yeah.
Like I've been at events where like their members have surrounded my booth and not let anybody buy fangs from me. I've been blacklisted from every nightclub that that cult had access to as far as performing as a DJ. So I've lost a lot of money, a lot of friends, and I had a lot of heartache.
So in cults, they'll oftentimes go, don't talk to so-and-so. They'll cause you to stumble. That's what Jehovah's Witnesses would do. And Jehovah's Witnesses did excommunications.
That cult had a very similar definition of somebody who was a dangerous. Oh, it's called discordant.
Discordant. It's
Yes.
a discordant.
Yes.
Discordant, okay.
Yes,
For
it
the
was called-
vampire community, it's discordant.
Yeah, it was somebody who goes against the leader. So, and there's a lot of cult leaders. They can't control you. You are dangerous to them. You're a liability. But he created that liability because for the next 10 years I did nothing but crusade against cults, including him, not exclusively but mostly. Try to save people from sexual assault, from getting ripped off, from getting lied to, used, manipulated. In the end, people just wanted to go to the party.
Sometimes I think that people just they're the type that needs to touch the hot stove to see it's hot.
There's a guy that used to work for the cult leader. He was doing like some freelance writing. After he left, he told me something. After cult leader finally screwed him over. He's like, I don't get it. Every time a sexual assault allegation comes out, the numbers for the events and the sales go up 25%. So that's why I don't want to talk about the specifics, because I don't want to give them any publicity.
I want people that are watching this to understand something, because listening to you two, you guys are making it very clear. Jumping into a cult or even any community, whether it's good or bad, does not mean it's all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah. So Pixie was part of a cult too, but it was called...
So I used to be a Jehovah's Witness. Now, not all Jehovah's Witnesses are a cult, but the section I was in was a cult.
They would prey upon people who just had recent lost loved ones. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, if you join our group, we'll make sure that you can see your loved ones in the afterlife. And they prey upon people like, and that's where her family came in.
Yeah. My dad passed, and my mom was looking for a new religion because the Catholic faith told my mom that she needed to buy a death mask for over $1,000.
At least they said it was $10,000.
10,000, you're right. It was 10,000.
It's a lot of money. Yeah.
And she said, what do you mean? Why do I need to buy this? And they said, to ensure your husband gets into heaven because he wasn't a good color.
Wow.
Her
And-
father is black.
I put two and two together,
Oh,
but yeah.
And My mom got up and left. She was like, no. Mm-mm.
Well, your mom's Puerto Rican. She
Yeah.
don't put up with
She
shit.
doesn't put up with any of that.
Yeah.
So that was our whole journey on trying to find a new religion. We went to we went to a mosque at one point. We were trying out different religions because my mom was like, I want you to be exposed to religion. I want you to grow up with religion, but I don't want you to be exposed to that, whatever that was.
So kind of giving you a choice to find your own path and what you're
Yeah.
comfortable with.
And Jehovah's Witnesses was going door to door. And my mom was like, ignoring all of these, and then they started doing the Watchtower and the Awake magazines for what happens when a loved one dies. And because my dad had just passed,
That's
and
so predatory.
it really was, because they talked to my mom and they heard about it, so they started leaving the ones about death related and what happens to your loved ones. And my mom was like, let's just check out the Kingdom Hall. They started to my mom and me didn't pick up on it when we were really but a lot of the women who were part of the elders would sit in front, and we didn't catch it onto it until I saw one of the sisters have black eyes, and she was wearing sunglasses. Inside, I was like,
Black
Mommy,
eyes meaning that
Black
there
eyes,
was
she got
damage
punched.
done to her
Yeah,
face.
someone punched
Yep.
her.
It was
Yeah.
one of the elders that punched her, and that was her husband punched her in the face, and they said that was her wifely duty to take the punishment. And my mom said, hold up. Absolutely not. And when they started saying that we didn't need an education, we just needed to let the Lord provide for us, my mom was like, no, you're going to college, sweetie. That's a Harvard graduate right there who's telling everyone else that they don't need an education. That's the signs of that's a cult, and you just got to get out of that. Because once they start controlling your finances, controlling your love life, controlling just what you're doing on a daily basis, you lose a part of your free will to these organizations, and that's something I don't agree with.
Yeah.
And not all Jehovah's Witnesses do that, but that particular Kingdom Hall did.
I can only imagine how often this goes down around the world,
It does.
where they are basically in a predatory sense, where they are hunting people that are grieving, hurting, and taking advantage of the pain and for whatever their desire may be. And just even looking at it from a larger scale, there can be people that know something is being done incorrectly or it's a wrongdoing to somebody and still not be willing to speak up because they're scared for themselves.
Yes. Fear is a big thing. You can get into a situation where a cult will literally try to fearmonger you, because what Jehovah's Witnesses did to me was they told me I was not going to see my dad. If you're not a good girl, you'll never see your dad again. You'll go to hell. But I don't want to go to hell. Then you be a good girl. What
And
does that
good
entail?
Okay, go ahead.
What does that
I'm
entail?
listening, yep.
You have to sit there good. You have to be there quiet. You have to
Be the punching bag.
Yeah, being the punching bag. You have to respect everyone else while they disrespect you.
Well, a lot of
And-
times they're just scared not to be able to participate with everybody else.
That's
To
you know?
not
another
be
thing.
accepted or
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Well, see, that goes back to actually a very common fear when 20,000 years ago, when we were huddled together, like fighting the wilds. You know, it was like us versus nature, essentially. And if you were an asshole, you get thrown out of the encampment, probably get eaten by whatever.
now
you
you're
know,
by
predator.
yourself out there, yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's but it's also a way to keep people in
Line in
in
check.
line by,
it's
Very true.
so then cults use that. They abuse that.
We, the Horrible Podcast, are officially opening up the doors for you to submit your horror experiences. Those experiences can be anything from paranormal experiences, real life horror, anything off the wall. If it has to do with horror and you were terrified within that moment, we want to hear about it. We want these videos to be shot very specifically, selfie style. So you need to have the camera be looking right at you as you tell your story. So click on the link in the bio. This is where you'll be able to submit a selfie style video up to 2 to 5 minutes telling us about your horror experience. There may be a chance that myself and maybe a special guest will react to your story around the fire. So submit them crazy stories. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? The King Vampire Court.
Vampire Court in New Orleans.
Yep. What's this process like? Was it just...
It's like a town hall
Okay.
for a local community. We kind of put a pause on it for a lot of different reasons. When I was running, I was actually trying to help people with their life goals. Like if someone was a mechanic, we'd recommend them out to all our friends or our inner circle. I try to create like
It's a legit community.
Yeah, I try to do like I'm from New York, and that's like you look at Chinatown, Little Italy, blah blah. They all live, work, make money. They date within their own community. So I was looking at that as just like, oh, we can do this with a local vampire court.
Publicly or within the community?
Both.
Okay.
I told people I don't lord over anybody. I'm just the one organizing the meetings.
Gotcha.
Some people want to try to hostile take over and then get mad that they didn't hostile take
that
over.
was the dumbest thing. It was like so stupid. Like people are like, people say these things are just absolutely stupid because real power is not taken; it's given.
And like most of these people are giving their
okay,
power.
so see, you had a group of people. Right? You were the leader of this group of people. They will only follow you as long as they want to.
True.
Right? Now, when they remove themselves, when they remove their personal power, you can't say, "Oh no, come back."
Come back.
No, you can't. No, you can't take power. You have to
be given it.
Yeah, you have to be given it, and that power can be taken back at any point by that individual. Period.
But that power can be instilled through fear.
It can. But
I don't like that.
But
you may not like it, but it can be true.
But you have to still allow that.
I'm not a mafia.
You have to allow that to happen.
I'm not the mafia here.
Maven, I want to speak on something, and Pixie actually has it done. We were speaking about it earlier.
Sure.
The fangs.
Oh yeah.
The fangs.
Absolutely.
And I actually want to ask you this personally. Have you gave yourself the name the Fangsmith? Is that something you came up with?
There's a story behind that.
Okay.
Yes.
I was working for a company that made prosthetic fangs and contact lenses, jewelry, so the whole vampire aesthetic. So I was working as a graphic designer, like in their marketing department. I said it was like marketing department of one, So they were using the term fang maker back then, and I was like. And I was looking at us just like, I think we could do better than this, but I'm not quite sure what. And I just sat there I remember sitting there for hours alone thinking about this. And all of a sudden I started seeing this image of a shadowed figure with a big hammer pounding on an anvil, right? And I could hear it in the Tony Stark,
Cling, cling. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Just like that. And then I was like, why am I seeing a blacksmith? Why Fangsmith? Yeah. So when the owner of the company, came by, I was like, we're not calling them fang makers anymore. He's like, okay, what are we calling them then? And it's like, Fangsmith. And he was like, oh my God, I love it.
Yep.
That's going to be everywhere. So, so I started April 7th, 1998. I started making fangs. I became a Fangsmith. Now everybody's fucking using it.
Let me ask you this. When you say you make fangs, are you the one also implementing them in people's mouths?
Yes.
So is this something you need a license for? Did you have to learn this?
No, this is still considered costuming makeup.
Okay.
Because there's no permanent work done whatsoever to the teeth.
Okay.
So I'll take an impression of the canines and create the fang from there.
So Pixie, what are these? These are, you could take these out? Okay.
Yeah. Permanent work is highly illegal. We don't do that.
Got you.
No matter how hard you ask. And someone was asking really hard.
Oh yeah, someone was really asking really hard. We do use dental acrylic, which is safe with the mouth. I'm actually against permanent fangs. And
yeah, me too.
Like this is like
it cuts into our budget. That's good.
Well,
permanent fangs are a bad idea. They will eventually round down, so they just look like long, stupid teeth.
They do, then like it rubs against the bottom jaw, like jaw teeth, and it causes damage to the bottom jaw. And then jaw fatigue over here, which It comes from chewing. You have to talk a different way, chew.
Yeah, you have
all
to
of
eat
it.
a completely different way because, like, we
Yeah.
eat like more like cows than we do wolves, right? You know, side to side grinding.
But if you
Wolves are
have those
like
fangs,
wolves are like
like they tear.
like that.
I
No.
can imagine that there's some doctors that'll do that shit
They were in
will.
under
LA.
the table.
They
They're
were in
just
LA.
like, fuck it. The money's there. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
We're
they're all in LA.
Oh, in
like,
LA? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Like every time I hear about someone, oh yeah, I got it done in LA. Oh, okay.
Okay. There are dangers to these things, and I would encourage everyone before making a rash decision to change any part of your body to do your research. Do it with a professional. And please, if someone's going to charge you $250 for permanent fangs, please walk away from them. You're crazy.
That's a red flag
That's a big
immediately.
red flag. I was like, you're going to mess up your whole mouth with that. And like dental stuff in the United States is no longer a medical, it is cosmetic. So that's why it costs so much now. So
Yep.
please be very careful.
So for the fangs that you've done, specifically on Pixie, where can people get this work done? How do they get in contact with you?
You can go to my website at www.thefangsmith.com. I don't travel as much as I used to. Like, you know, I can do mail order, but most of the people actually like sitting down with me and getting a pair.
Yeah.
You know, because like it's like getting a tattoo. You know, most people don't want to go to like have it printed on them from a computer. They want someone, you know, to interact with, to have
Have it make it
have
themselves.
a bonding experience with. You know, so
Yeah.
I like to tell people, like, they were like, "Oh, how'd you start making fangs?" I said, "Peer pressure." You know, and they were like, "What does that mean?" I was like, "Well, I started my own house, vampire house in New York, and it was like me and like 3 other Puerto Ricans."
Okay.
And they're like, "You know what? You're an artist. You should learn how to do that." And I was like, "I don't want to do that shit." And I was like, "Here's me 28 years later doing that shit."
There you go.
But I found I had a natural knack for them. And I remember looking at this woman at club, and everything was perfect. All right. Hair, nails, makeup, dress, shoes, everything was, and then she opened her mouth and I just saw these god awful fangs, ill shaped, ill colored. I wonder if I can do fangs differently. And I figured out the key to making good fangs on women, but that same key worked for everyone. It's everything to do with, I get a vibe from somebody, you know, personality, way they hold themselves, the contours of their face, what they got going on their teeth. I take all these into account while I'm making this. It's like I will talk with a client for 5 or 10 minutes before I even start to make sure that what I'm doing is going to be right for them specifically. And you should see her fangs are so petite, but it goes with her little squeaky personality, you know?
They look dope, man.
Yeah. So if you could imagine, I actually made her a double set like that. She's only wearing the single ones because they're so small you can barely see the other ones.
It looks very subtle.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So
Like it's that glance look, like you double take.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's scarier when they're more subtle because they look like it can actually be there.
Yeah.
You know. But you know, when you got these big bulky things in your mouth, you're like, oh, you're wearing fake fangs.
Right.
You know.
No, those look like her teeth. Legitimately her teeth.
You should
So-
tell like more history of your family.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
We found out something cool.
All right.
Okay.
So they found out that I was making fangs. And I didn't want them to because my dad was very judgmental about it. But he was like, oh, well, you're making money of it, then it's okay now. You know? I'm like, wow, okay.
So if you weren't making money, was he almost demonizing it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Kinda,
We weren't
yeah.
allowed to wear fangs within 50 yards of the house.
Gotcha.
You know? Something like crazy like that. So anyway, they found out, and the next day, mom says, I want to show you something. So my mom, little eccentric, she pulls out some crazy stuff in us. I didn't know what to expect, and I opened it up, and there was dental teching supplies in it.
Wow.
And she said, your grandfather was the best dental tech for the Hispanic community when he was practicing in the Lower East Side of Manhattan.
That shit run through your veins.
Yeah. So he was talking about all these crazy jobs that other people weren't able to do, but he was, and he was just like, he really helped his people out. He was very talented. And he said, you know what? He's like, son, his gift lives within you in the strangest possible way. So,
More about vampires.
sure.
Vampires, even to this day, remain powerful symbols, right?
Correct.
How do they still maintain to this day to keep that same symbol that they are, and it never seems to get watered down?
Well, a lot of people don't know this, but absolutely every nation and religion and community around the world has myth and lore about vampires. Even the ancient Mayans and Incans worshiped vampire gods. There's these demon-like creatures in the Far East. There's, I have to also, and I might be kneecapping myself here, vampires of myth, legend, lore are very different from the ones portrayed in the movies. In the movies, they're sleek and cultured and sexy, and they have fangs. The ones of lore and myth and legend, they were grotesque creatures. They didn't have fangs either. They had claws. They had very sharp claws, and they would rip open the throats of their victims and drink that way.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the concept of fangs was created in Hollywood when it was inappropriate to talk about sexual penetration. With that on biting of the neck, that was a
It
way of
was
talking
sexy.
talking about romance and sex, and in a time when that was demonized.
yeah.
Never thought about it like
Yeah.
this.
So
When you
and
even think about the movies, it's like a lot of the times the male bites the woman and you lean her over, you get to her neck, and it's very seductive or sexual.
absolutely, it's very seductive.
Yeah.
So I was actually in a club I was telling you about, Mother, earlier,
Yep.
and there was a film crew that was there, like filming everybody, and I was just talking to the person running the show. I was like, so I'm not going to drink blood on TV here. I'm not going to do all this shit. I said, I'm not into this look at the freaks kind of stuff. And they're like, oh no, that's not what we're doing a segment on romance. I'm like, okay. And she said, there are only two remaining romantic stereotypes left in the United States currently. One is cowboys, the other one's vampires.
Wow.
And she goes, obviously I'm here because I don't like cowboys. So, so there's a romance about it. And the concept of living forever with the one you love, the biting being a very sexual act.
For sure. When you hear vampire community,
Yeah,
or when someone hears this, they jump to extremes.
absolutely. They
Right?
do. Yeah.
What do they get completely wrong? What's a misconception or the biggest misconception?
The whole blood drinking thing. It was just like, I like to say, it's like who the fuck cares this much about someone's diet? Seriously.
Yeah, nobody asked me what I had to eat this
It was
morning.
like,
Yeah.
you sustain yourself on the ham sandwich, and it's like, I have a little poke at them, and to your benefit, you've been very respectful about that subject, so
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Of course.
This guy's awesome.
Yes.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
So they immediately either think that they are mentally ill or they're actually real, like, the stuff they see in TV.
Yeah.
They're like, you drink blood?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hypnotize women?
Right.
I'm going to get to a story in a second,
Yeah.
but let me finish this question.
Go ahead,
okay?
yeah.
All right. Can you turn into a bat? And it's like, no, but that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? It's like, and what about garlic? He goes, well, I'm half Italian. I love pizza. So, but they always, they're like, oh well, I know this is true because I watched it on the TV. And the biggest part of why people like vampires is because they're free in all the ways that society is not. Fitting in, sexuality, whether you're gay, straight, or some combination of all of that, it doesn't matter. So I have a funny story.
Okay.
Somebody in my house. Remember I said it was like me and 3 or 4 other Puerto
Yeah.
Ricans, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of them, he goes, And it's like, Maven, you're so good with the women. You need to teach me your vampire powers. You need to teach me how to seduce women better. So I am dying laughing inside, right? I said, all right, follow my lead. So this girl walks by me, real cute one, and I stretch my hand out and go, come to Butthead.
This would never work now.
Right. So she stops, she turns, she jumps in my arms and shoves her tongue down my throat.
Yo.
And he's bouncing. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's amazing. I'm going to go try that right now. He runs upstairs. And the girl goes, Maven, what the fuck's wrong with your friend? You wouldn't believe what I just told him.
You clearly knew this woman.
Yes.
Okay. Got you.
So.
Did it fare well for him?
No.
I can only imagine him getting slapped after trying that.
No, it wasn't slapped. It was laughed at.
Yeah. I do want to address what you talked about, though, because it is big as far as how the world views vampires.
Yeah.
There are people who do drink blood.
Yes.
How common is that?
Not very common.
Not very
Okay.
common.
Not very common. Ironically enough, it's the first thing that people go to. You know, oh, do you drink blood?
It's damn near the number one.
I know like 3.
Yeah.
And one of them is involved in the religious aspect of this vampirism as well. So it's
Understood.
actually technically part of their religion.
Got you. Okay.
They do so many safety precautions, which is testing for STDs.
Yeah.
There's also making sure that your blood is okay. And then, like, there's just a lot of
No
aspects.
vegans.
Yeah, no vegans.
They're like, oh God, this blood tastes horrible. Eat a steak or something.
Because there's people that will watch these movies and think they're just slicing open their wrist and like, here,
Here,
you know,
you must have me.
Yeah.
that's not real.
I actually went to I went to a gathering that actually showed safe ways to. She said, if you're going to do this the safe way. And he was like, everybody in the movies goes, ha ha, slicing the hand open. And she was like, that takes forever to heal, and that is not practical, and that is stupid, you know. And they were like, they took like a little, like one of those diabetes testing needles, went poop. That's all you do.
That's all you do.
You know, and like to a finger. That's it.
I mean, people are like, we watch a movie like Blade,
Oh yeah.
and you got blood showers as the opening scene.
God, I love
Like,
that
I
movie.
love that.
Blade is one of the best movies ever.
I have, fun fact, I've thrown 2 of those parties.
Yes.
Blade. Well, hold on. What do you
Blood
mean?
rave.
I've told 2 blood raves before.
Blood raves.
Not real blood.
Not real
No.
blood.
What's
No,
coming
no.
out? Okay, what were
No.
you substituting
Do-
blood for?
do- the first one.
Kool-Aid?
I'll do the second one. The second one was stage blood, right?
Okay.
I had a series of, you know, like I had a sump pump and a series of
That's
pipes
fucking
over the
crazy.
dance, but it's specifically over the dance floor, and there was a little area that says you go past this, you're going to get splattered. And
Yeah.
we made people sign like
Waivers,
waivers
and like,
at the front.
you know you're going to get stage
The first
blood
one
on
was
you.
a little more ghetto.
I couldn't even imagine going in there.
Yeah, the first one was way more ghetto.
Okay.
No waivers, no nothing. Still had the sump pump and the thing, but we used like 10 gallons of Kool-Aid.
At least it tastes good.
Yeah, and it was just like, but the thing is, they hit people's clothes that looked more pink than
Yeah.
you know anything.
Yeah.
So that's why we went with stage blood, because the first year was straight up Kool-Aid.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever had a moment where you thought most people would not believe this if they seen it? And I'm speaking about in the VC community, vampire community.
I have one. The vampire hunter with the titties.
Oh my god.
Is it a crazy story?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Okay, remember I told you about the hunters?
Are you talking about the real ones?
There was
These are real ones.
in the 90s, still in New Orleans, there were still hunters.
Okay.
All right. It dwindled to almost nothing at this point, right?
This is so crazy already to hear that there was real vampire hunters.
There were real vampire
So there was
hunters.
there's this club called the Dungeon. Yeah, it was more of like a theme bar. You know, they didn't actually have the restraints and this. Then they had cages, but it's just for people to sit and drink. You know.
Gotcha.
So the current prince of the city was a woman, and she had
The prince?
yes.
So what?
Well, everyone's called
Right,
Prince.
everyone's called
Okay,
Prince. It
all right.
doesn't matter what gender.
What gender? It's Prince.
Understood.
So she had massive personality.
Yeah.
Two of
Okay.
them,
I
okay?
get the language. Yep.
Okay. So this is what saved her. Okay. So she was very public about being the prince of the city of the vampires. And a hunter came in the club, came out with a stake with with like a little cross etched into the where the point was. Bam! Right in her chest. And she had so much personality that it just stuck there. It didn't hit her heart.
We talking about personality, y'all.
Yeah, personality.
Yeah. So she goes, "You fucked up my breast," and she beat the shit out of this guy with the thing still in her.
That's crazy.
So there was.
He literally tried to damn near kill her.
Oh yeah.
In public.
Oh,
she,
yeah.
She pulled it. She goes, "Yes, look at the scar." She pulls it down. It was like this perfect little cross scar right
It's
there.
the coolest thing ever.
What?
But,
Yeah.
So then there was a tour guide that dressed up like that. He was a tour guide and he just talked about vampire myths and legends and lore, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they thought, oh, he's real vampire. Let's attack him. This guy came screaming at him with the overhand. Ah! Tour guy's assistant stuck his foot out, tripped. Ah! Every single tooth got
On the
knocked
curve.
out.
Yep.
He lost all his teeth.
Yeah.
Yep. He went.
And he went to
bam.
jail
Yep.
for attempted murder.
Attempted murder,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think the funniest one was this one guy comes up to my friend Gypsy. He's since passed. Gypsy was a tarot reader in Jackson Square. He's a big old dude. Like he was 6'4". He had a big grizzly beard. He had a set of double permanent fangs and contact lenses. So he looked terrified.
Yeah.
Right. So this dude steps up to Gypsy. You know, like people slam the gun on the table, you know, and like just to be a badass. He slammed the stake on the table and he said, "Demon from hell, I have come to send you back from whence you came."
Very confident.
So Gypsy looks down, looks up at the guy, looks down again. He goes, "That's not going to work." I'm like, "Yeah, of course it is. I've had my training." And you're like, "You have silver bullets?" He's like, "No, you're a vampire." And he's like, no, I'm a werewolf. That's not going to work on me. You need to come back with silver bullets." And this guy picks up the thing nervously. He goes, turns around. Goes,
You're not prepared for this fight.
He goes, are you sure? He goes, "Yes, I'm a werewolf." And the guy walks off mumbling, "Werewolf. I wasn't trained for this shit." So actually recently,
Yeah.
out of nowhere, with like good 20 years, I haven't heard of any hunters. There was a guy on Facebook posting pictures of people from the vampire community and saying that they were all demons and he was going to hunt them, right? So, but this isn't the 90s. We can't just beat the shit out of
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
We called the police and had them committed.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then so I was like, I haven't heard from this guy for a while, so I went to his Facebook, and his daughter got a hold of his Facebook. He goes, "I'm very sorry to anybody he's intimidated. He's seeking the mental health that he needs." So we had him committed.
Damn. I'm assuming, and no, I'm not going to assume. I'm going to ask you.
Sure, go for it.
I don't even know how to ask this question.
Just
Are there still people hunting vampires?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
know.
Like, have you guys ran into this?
I personally, I got tagged by this guy's account, and it said Maven Lore. The demon inhabits him and he must be purged or some shit. I was like, uh-oh.
But y'all don't hear any more stories about
No,
these
it's-
groups rallying up together and slaying
Well,
people.
Yeah.
You know, here's the thing.
We
We're
would
the
hear
cool
that shit on
kids.
the news.
We're the cool kids now. We're accepted by society.
Exactly, yeah.
Like there's stranger things than us out there right now.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
You're so right. Yeah.
Will people scare with them in the 70s and 80s? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then Anne Rice turning into Mr. Sexy Time. You know.
I got a few more questions for you.
Sure.
Without telling me too much, do you think there are parts of the world that stay hidden for a reason in this community?
Yes. I'll be very honest with you. I can't give much details because I don't have the
Okay.
details, but I know that there's vampire communities all over the world, especially in Europe. But they don't talk to us because they think we're trash. So I wouldn't, evidently it's so serious for them out there. They don't advertise what they do. They don't talk to anybody else. and they think American vampires are just gaudy and trashy and
I didn't know this.
yeah.
I didn't know this. I
So-
know vampire community is serious in Romania.
They take that shit seriously. Very.
You think they
seriously.
sleeping in coffins and all that?
I'm thinking that the fear is real.
Ah, okay.
Now, I can't say whether an actual mythological vampire is real or not, but something has them fucking spooked.
Something's got.
You know, there are people absolutely 1,000% believe that they're real vampires and they're just hidden from society, and it's like a true blood thing where they're all going to come out in the casket one of these days.
Yeah.
But I believe there's truth in everything.
I had a woman on this show. Shout out to her. Her name is Jen. And she had gave me a good food for thought quote kind of thing. And she had told me, she said, if vampires were real and they've lived for this long, do you think they would have given us the recipe to kill them? What if they gave us the recipe to survive?
That's actually
garlic, light, all
Right.
these different things.
Yeah, there was I forgot what the movie or TV show was. They were talking about the garlic, and you go, "Oh, we made that shit up."
Yeah, there you go.
We totally made that shit up.
Yep.
All
I want to end it on this.
right.
I want to give you the floor or ask you this question, whichever
Okay.
one you choose.
Sure. What you got?
Is there a message to the people that you want to give them that you have personally? Or is there something you would want them to know about yourself that they wouldn't find out from this interview?
Yeah. Well, what I like to tell people, I'd like to tell people we're no threat to anybody. We're just weird. And being weird is okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to bounce to the status quo if you don't want. If that's your thing, that's fine. If you don't. No big deal. But don't tell me what I can or can't do. Definitely don't tell her, because she's a vicious little pixie, But yeah, I would say do your research, talk to people, save judgment and assumptions. And we'll all get along. We all just want to get along, And I'd like to say to the people in the community who fight and bicker and argument, I'd like to say we all left the mainstream for a reason. Why are we hating on each other? It's like the mainstream ain't going to have us, so let's act like the family that we are.
We'll leave it at that. Well, I want to thank both of you guys for being here tonight.
Oh, it was our pleasure.
I really do appreciate y'all being here. It means a lot to me. And for everybody watching, man, I hope you guys truly can get the message from today or from tonight, and understand that don't believe everything you hear. Ask questions, and don't be so judgmental to everybody that you come across until you get to know at least a little something about them.
Yeah.
And most importantly, I'm gonna say this one more time before we close out, Maven. www.thefangsmith.com.
Yes.
Right? That's where you guys can go get y'all fangs safely made. They won't bullshit you, and they will take good care of you over there. Man, truly, thank you to everybody that's tuning in. I do appreciate y'all. Stay tuned. Stay horrible.